Hey guys, my name is Andrew Prolon with Renaissance Humans. Today we're talking about what to eat to beat colitis, Crohn's, and IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Three pretty horrible digestive issues. If you've never had them, they are basically making your everyday life dramatically worse than it really should be. And it varies depending on times. Some people go into remission, come out of remission. I have had the advantage of not really having had any symptoms for many years, because I found a way to get rid of my colitis. And so a lot of people say, hey, Andrew, what do you eat today? Because I want to copy what you eat so I too can have no symptoms. Um, but unfortunately, that's not really the question you should be asking, because if you just started eating what I eat today, you would probably not get rid of your colitis. So, or Crohn's, or whatever your digestive issue may be. This is what I do professionally. I work with a lot of people, and I can tell you that only a minority of the cases would actually get rid of their diet, of their symptoms, even if they started eating exactly like me. And so a lot of my coaching clients, they don't want to do the first step. And the first step is get rid of your symptoms. End the autoimmune situation which is causing you so much pain in the case of the colitis and the Crohn's, or just the negative reaction in the case of the IBS, the really unpleasant symptoms. And the way to do that is to start off with a fast. Now, do you need to fast? Could you just go down to an elimination diet, which I'll be talking more about second? Yes, but it's going to take a lot longer, and there's really no guarantee of success because you don't know that the food that you've chosen to start your elimination diet is actually a food that you're not intolerant to. On the other hand, if you start off with a fast and get rid of your symptoms, and you introduce a food and symptoms come back, you know you've chosen poorly. So that feedback alone is incredibly important. So basically, we want to start off with a water fast under ideal situations. That's the tried and true method. You can't really beat it, in my opinion. At least we don't have the data to say that anything else works as well. Recently, I've been talking to some of my coaching clients about Prolon. It is a fasting mimicking diet. It seems to bring about a lot of the effects, but there are some issues, namely that a lot of the foods that people are intolerant to, such as tomatoes, are included in that menu. So personally, if I was trying to make a a gut fixing fasting mimicking diet, I wouldn't really use what they're using, though I understand why they've chosen what they've chosen, because it works well for what they're trying to do. If you want to learn more about Prolon, I'll put a video in the corner. Also, before I forget, if you just want to learn more about this topic in depth, my book, The Raw Food Digestive Tune-Up, I will also put a link in the corner, and both of those links, as well as a discount to Prolon, will be in the video notes below. So we're not going to spend a lot of time to talk about fasting, but needless to say, if you fast with a water fasting, preferably under medical supervision, but because there is some danger involved, but you'll bring your symptoms under control. So what next? Well, what should be the basis of an elimination diet? So basically, you're eliminating down to nothing, and then you're adding one food in. You eat tons of that food for 3 days. If you see no symptoms, it is now considered a safe food. You may add one more food in. Eat lots of it for 3 days in addition to the first food you ate. And if you see no negative symptoms over the course of that 3 days, you've now got two foods that you can safely eat. You build on that until um, you hit a snag. You're going to find a food and suddenly, bam, my symptoms came back. Well, chances are that that food is a food you're going to have to avoid. Now, some people, excuse me, can come back after a year or so and try that food again, and magically they can handle it. But most people, most of the foods that they discover, they'll have to avoid for the rest of their life. Some other time I'll talk about food allergies, and kind of a way to deal with that is kind of a separate topic. But for most people, you're going to have to keep avoiding them. And that goes for everything. That goes for every spice in your drawer, because relatively small amounts can cause issues. It goes for every single grain, every single starch, if you want to eat meat, blah, blah, blah. So what are the worst offenders? I actually usually keep notes with the coaching clients I work for. And so this is by no means, it's not like I have a large enough sample size to give a definitive answer, but the ones that seem to be the ones that come up most often are dairy, eggs, chocolate, nuts of all kinds. There's some that seem to be more than others, but nuts in general. Shellfish, fish, soy, wheat, corn, citrus fruits of a wide variety, tomatoes of a wide variety, strawberries, and bananas. Now, those I would say are a combination for IBS, which tends to have more of an issue with specific foods. As opposed to the colitis and Crohn's, which you'll have specific foods that are triggers, but there's more of an autoimmunity element in there that needs to be brought under control. Often, if you get the autoimmune issue under control, you can eat a wider variety of foods. So one of the things that I've talked about is that when I first got rid of my colitis, I didn't do it with fasting because I just didn't have that experience. This was many years ago, a lot less talk about fasting. But I did it by just eating bananas for 2 months, which everyone tells me that sounds crazy. How could you possibly have done that? I was suffering enough that just bananas for 2 months was better than anything else I had done. And by 2 months, I didn't have any symptoms anymore. Now, that doesn't mean that bananas are the best food to use. I have met many people who are intolerant to bananas, but they worked for me, and they worked for other people as well. But I mean, who wants to just eat bananas for 2 months when you could probably fast for a week, maybe two, and then go back to, just slowly incorporating foods? I think that's probably a better bet. The other thing with bananas is that there's plenty of fruit that would work. Watermelon often works for people. Actually, one of the few fruits that I don't think I've seen anyone react to it negatively in years of coaching, and that is pears. I don't know why, but they seem to go over really well with people. It's actually the only fruit of all the ones that I've talked to people about that I've never seen a negative reaction for. And I'm sure somebody's allergic to it somewhere. It just has to be, but I haven't seen it so far. But some other good options are often, sweet potatoes are really good. There's some starchy vegetables and some cooked vegetables are often pretty good choices as well. So, like I said, don't ask a person who no longer has symptoms what they're eating now. Instead, do your own work. Do your own exploration. The only way that you're going to build up the certainty that you're going to stay symptom-free regarding whatever meal you're eating is if you know what foods trigger your negative symptoms. So go about it intelligently, go about it methodically, be disciplined. You can't just be flittering all over the place and, I wanted to try this thing, but now I'm going to go out to eat at this restaurant with my friends and I'm going to screw everything up. You have to really stick to it for a number of months and build up a good list of foods that you can eat before you really do that stuff. So, hope you enjoyed this, guys. I hope that people suffering digestively know that there is a way out. It requires discipline. It requires work. It requires some thought. If you need coaching, I do that. You can find a link in the corner. And see you later.